Well, India and Afghanistan, we all know, have a very close relationship. And on Tuesday, something important will happen. It will be a virtual meeting between the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Afghan President Ashraf Ghani. And to talk about this virtual meeting with me is the Afghan CDA Tahir Qadiry. Tahir, India has a history of building large-scale infrastructure projects in Afghanistan, whether it is the India Afghanistan Friendship Dam in Herat or whether it's the Afghan Parliament. And now this dam coming up. If you can give us the details about this dam, how it will provide the people of Kabul with clean drinking water.
Well, these projects are the hallmarks of the friendship and the bond that India and Afghanistan has. I think I previously have been telling media that what India did in Afghanistan was a couple of, things, like to say that they believe in Afghanistan's democracy, they built the House of Parliament. To say that they believe in Afghanistan infrastructure, they did the Salma Dam, and now the Shahtoot Dam is happening. And on the other hand, of course, the sports and, the soft power, the students, the exchanges and all that we have had. So this dam comes at a very important juncture of time, at a time that a lot of people in Kabul, they lack drinkable water. So this will provide for more than 2 million people drinkable water. If you have seen the pictures of Kabul, a lot of people live on the mountains, on the top hills. So this will be a very good opportunity for them to have access to drinkable water and, again, a great bond of friendship between the two countries.
Tahir, India and Afghanistan share very close relationship. You talked about this close relationship. How has this relationship panned out at a time when the global situation is changing very fast? There are talks happening between the Afghan government and Taliban. And of course, India has been helping amidst the COVID pandemic, sending the vaccines as well.
Well, the bond is such organic that the two nations and the two countries have been standing by each other through the thick and thin of time. So I think that it speaks for itself that, during the very difficult days of COVID, which we were here and, the whole city was in lockdown, but, we were given the chance to send our stranded, like 15,000 Afghans back home. So that wouldn't have happened without the help of India. The air bubble, which we have now direct daily flights to Afghanistan, to Kabul and to Mazar-e-Sharif. This is, again, a signal of that friendship, while India is still close to a lot of countries in the world, but it is open to Afghanistan. The trade and the bilateral trade relationship that we have, the strategic partnership, which was signed, and India was the first country that Afghanistan signed that strategic partnership after fall of the Taliban, and a lot of cultural exchanges. I think these are all good examples of, people's to people's contact, and no matter who has been at the helm of power in Kabul or in Delhi, the relationships have always been the same.
And now there is new diplomacy, the vaccine diplomacy, with New Delhi sending the vaccines to Afghanistan?
Well, of course, yes. Afghanistan was, again, one of the first recipient countries to receive 500,000 doses of made in India vaccines, which has been very highly appreciated in Afghanistan. And this will help us to jointly tackle this pandemic.
Lastly, Tahir, talking about the cultural commonalities between India and Afghanistan, I'm told that this prayer bead, if you can show to our viewers, is from Ajmer. So what is the link between Ajmer and Afghanistan, and how was your visit to the place?
As part of my trips since I've been here, I've been traveling around to different states. One particular place which I really love to go there was Ajmer-e-Sharif, because we have a common history there, because Muinuddin Chishti came from Herat in the 12th or 13th century, and then he travels all the way and he comes and resides there in Ajmer-e-Sharif. So I always wanted to go there, but according to my good friend Salman Chishti Saab, he said that when I went there, he said that normally Ajmer calls someone. So when the time comes, then you come too. So it was a very good trip. It took me a couple of hours to go there, and magnificent, dargah there. A lot of people, of course, and we did, all the prayers, and we had a very good tour of the dargah too. And then we had Qawwali there, which is part of that, because Chishti Sharif actually, one of the common things that they connected with, with religious stuff is music. So through Qawwali, they try to express themselves, which they perform for us as well, and we did our du'as and all that. And then, of course, I got the praying beat from there as a holy thing. Siddhant, again, getting back to the cultural ties that we have, I think it has been portrayed in a lot of senses. Recently I wrote an article for somewhere, and I was there is, a character, Sher Khan, who is the character of an Afghan in Zanjeer film. And there, he talks about this bond, and he says that, Yari hai, iman mera, yar hai mere zindagi. So, friend is my faith, and friend is, my life. And I think that is the kind of picture which symbolizes the relationship between Indians and Afghans.
Tahir, now moving towards a global situation as well, we know that there is a new president in White House, President Joe Biden. How do you think that situation will be impacted in your country at a time when the violence level is also increasing?
Well, we are very much there. Well, first of all, there have been a lot of contacts between our government, senior government officials, and the new U.S. Administration. Some positive signals have been there. So there at least have been three things. The U.S. commitment to Afghanistan, which is very important for all of us, because they have invested in blood and treasure, the international community, especially the U.S. and the European countries. So that is quite important to stay committed to Afghanistan, which we have that. So they have already reaffirmed that. The second one is review of the U.S. and the Taliban agreement, because we believe that the Taliban, they have not been standing by their commitments, and they have not been delivering. At a time that we are negotiating with them, they have been increasing the violence in Afghanistan. They are actually resorting to targeted attacks and killings of civil society activists, journalists, politicians, and on average, we have had 50 attacks across Afghanistan. So it is not only a number, but they have been, attacking schools, like, hospital wards, and university students. I'm sure you know what happened in Kabul, the unfortunate attack. So at such a time, I think it is very good news that the U.S. will be reviewing that. And the third one is the regional consensus, because without the regional consensus, we believe that we cannot have, an enduring peace. So we need to bring all our neighbors on the same table, and we need to persuade everyone that peace in Afghanistan is peace for the region, because geographically we are in such a location called as the heart of Asia, that if it is peace in Afghanistan, then we can change into the region's hub where goods, money, and ideas will flow.
And that means connectivity with the entire region. And with India, you have the Chabahar port, the air corridor. How has these connectivity projects been impacted amidst the COVID pandemic? Has there been an increase or decrease in the connectivity in the trade between the two countries?
Well, connectivity is one of the ambitious plans our government has had, and we have and we have materialized it in many ways. So now Afghanistan is no more called a landlocked country, but it is a land-bridged country. So air corridor is one of those ambitious projects. Chabahar is a very strategic point for all the three countries, Iran, Afghanistan, and India. And quite soon we will have a quad meeting of the four countries that they will take it further. And I'm so happy to see India investing a lot, and I'm sure you know about the recent visit of the Joint Secretary MEA to Chabahar, where they delivered the cranes. So I think these are all good signs. And regarding the volume of trade, in fact, despite the restrictions and the pandemic, we have seen an increase of export to India. If I could give you some statistics, back in 2018 and 17 and 18, the volume of our export to India was around $433 million. But despite the pandemic, in 2019 and 20, it has increased to $530 million. So this, of course, is a very good sign for all of us. And then regarding saffron in particular, we have got at a 23% of increase of its export to India. When it comes to connectivity, that is one of our dream projects, that we want Afghanistan to change to that area where it can connect two parts of the world.
And my last question to you, Tahir, the issue of terrorism, that is something plaguing the region, whether it's New Delhi, whether it's Kabul, whether it's Tehran. And one single country has been held responsible for that. Recently, we saw UN also coming with a report saying that Pakistani Taliban is supporting Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. What do you have to say about these developments?
Well, cross-border insurgency is something that we all have been suffering from, and that has been the call of the Afghan government to different countries and to our neighbors that we need to join in hands to fight terrorism, because at the end of the day, we all will be the victims of this war. And let me also point out to the US Treasury's Department that recently they say that the Taliban, they have not cut their ties with Al-Qaeda. So again, that is quite concerning for us, that we are fighting at the forefront of, we are at the forefront of fighting terrorism in the world. So that has been the reason why our government has been, His Excellency, our Foreign Minister, has been traveling around to different countries, and His Excellency, the President, has been calling on different countries to forge this regional consensus so that everyone is convinced that peace in Afghanistan is peace in the region. If we have peace in Afghanistan, then the whole region has got a lot of potential to move towards prosperity.
Well, thank you so much, Tahir, for speaking to WION on several issues, and issues which, of course, will increase friendship between the two countries. And this friendship, of course, will see a lot of developments on Tuesday with the inauguration and the announcement on the crucial dam that will help provide water to millions of Afghans in the national capital, Kabul. With video journalist Gopal Siddhant Sibbal for WION in New Delhi.